So we've meased out all of our ingredients for our Danish dough. And we're going to do the first part of the Danish dough, which is the Detrempe. So now this is the basic dough that we make and we let it rest. We're gonna let this one rise in the refrigerator overnight. You don't have to do it overnight, but since we have the time, I'm going to let it, because letting it rise overnight really makes it a better dough. It gets better flavor and it handles better and it looks better when it bakes up. So I'm gonna make the Detrempe, and this is the basic dough again. And after it rests overnight in the refrigerator, that's when I'll pull it out tomorrow, and we're going to do what's called the encasement. The encasement is when I'm going to take the butter out. I'm going to show you how to make the butter pliable and elastic so that we can put it in the dough, and we wrap it in almost like an envelope. And then we do our folding and our turns, and that's what develops the layers in the Danish. So I'm going to do my Detrempe. So I've got all my wet ingredients here in this bowl. I know the recipe that you have says to use warm water, but again, we're using instant yeast and we don't need to bloom the yeast that we have. So I have in here is my yeast, my water, my milk, my salt, my sugar, and my eggs. And here I have my flour, and I have a mix of AP flour and bread flour. Some recipes will call for straight bread flour. I like to soften it up just a little bit and blend in some AP. So these have been sifted together so they're nice and even. And really what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in most of it. So I want to see how much has gone in, and I'm going to see how that is. So you can do this by hand. Very old school will tell you to do it by hand, and that way we don't get any gluten development. So I also have this little thing right here that I like for doing this, and it does a very nice job of blending this, as you can see, without. That looks pretty good. I'm glad I didn't put more flour in there. All right. So we want it to come together as a dough. I'm liking this. All right. So on your recipe, if Chef Luz will show this, this is how much flour that I did not use. And I don't think I'm going to use any of that flour. I'm going to see what it looks like on the table. Yeah, I like that. So it's soft, it holds its shape. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap it in plastic wrap and refrigerate it overnight. And you're going to see how it looks tomorrow. So we don't put this in the mixer. We mix this mostly by hand because we want it to be soft. And tomorrow it should be nice. All right. So make sure it's all together and it looks good. There we go. So I move it here. And in the plastic wrap, I'm going to do this to kind of push it all together and make sure there's no cracks or places where it didn't come together. So now I have a nice homogeneous dough, and I'm going to label this and put it in my refrigerator overnight, and we'll bring it out in the morning to do the encasement of the butter. So we'll see you then.